everybody. Welcome to episode number 82 of the Debt Free Dad podcast. Today, I am excited to welcome Mary Southard to the show. And check this out. Since Mary joined Roots just 18 months ago, she has saved and paid off over $29,000, which is absolutely impressive. And today, Mary is here to share how she did it and hopefully provide some advice and some tips to all of you who are working your way out of debt. Stay tuned.
Welcome to the Debt Free Dad podcast, where we're helping normal, everyday people learn how to save money and kick debt so they can live a happier and stress-free life. Now here's your host, Debt Free Dad, Brad Nelson.
Hey, how's everyone doing today? You can find me on Facebook, Pinterest, YouTube, and Instagram. Just search Brad Nelson, Debt Free Dad. And we would love to connect with you on one of those social platforms. If you have any questions about your finances, be sure to join one of those social platforms and ask away. We'd love to connect with you there. And again, welcome to today's show. I'm super excited to welcome Mary to the show. Now, Mary is married to her husband, James, and she is also a mom to an 11-year-old daughter. They are full-time ranchers down in Texas, which I think is super cool, and maybe Mary can share a little bit about that. But me and Mary are friends on Facebook, and she posts a lot of cool photos of her working on her ranch. And I always tell Mary, it's like, I want to take a week off and just come work down there. It looks like a lot of fun. I'm sure it's a lot of work, too. But it looks really, really cool. And anyway, she has 2 dogs, 6 barn cats, and a bunch of ranch animals, of course. And Mary says she enjoys fishing, hunting hogs, family time, and also being outdoors. Mary, welcome to the Debt Free Dad podcast. We're so excited to have you.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. So the first question I'd love to know is really going back, because you've been in Roots, and we talk a lot about how money and personal finance habits, behaviors, how we learn about money. I mean, it really kind of traces all the way back to when we were kids. So can you share a little bit maybe about your upbringing with money and maybe how that played a role in how you used money as you became an early adult and how that played a role in really maybe your success or not so much success in handling your money when you got started?
Well, as a child, we lived pretty frugally. We didn't exceed our means of living. And so growing up, I knew what the value of a dollar was. We had pretty strict parents as far as spending and everything. We only went to the store once a week and everything was watched really closely. And I carried that through to the beginning of my college years. And I did very well at the beginning, but then, just one thing leads to another, and then you get married, and then it just snowballs.
Yeah. I always talk about this because, money's a very taboo topic for a lot of people. And especially if you've made really poor financial decisions, right? It's a lot of people are embarrassed. And I used to be too, like, I don't want anyone to know that I'm this bad at managing my money.
Yes.
But what I've learned over the years, coaching people, and even in my own journey, my wife's journey, and the thousands of people that we've had gone through Roots now, is that I've never really met anybody that's intentionally said, I want to rack up as much debt as I possibly can and just live in financial stress and make my life really hard. It's kind of like you said, it's like one thing leads to another and it snowballs. You don't get into your situation overnight. Not all that bad stuff happens overnight. In most cases, it takes time to get there. And but you're right. You wake up one day and it's like, whoa, how did I get here? Right.
And at one point I was actually very close to being debt free. And then some life events happened and there went the snowball again.
Yeah. So talk a little bit about that. What were you guys, what did you personally struggle with the most? Was it budgeting? Was it maybe just not having a good plan? Maybe not knowing what to do? What were some things that you guys were having a hard time with?
Yeah, probably everything you just said. I had a budget, and I did really good with the envelope system and everything for a long, long time. And then I just kind of thought, I can handle this. I can do it. And then I guess I fell off the wagon, and then I wasn't watching, and then I wasn't paying attention. And then you just overspend, events come up, you take a couple of vacations that you shouldn't have taken. You overspend on Christmas and then it's just there. I mean, time flies and it just adds up so quickly.
Yeah, it certainly does. In fact, we were just recording a podcast not too long ago. We talked about that, how it's amazing how fast and easy it is to get into debt nowadays. Like you literally can get into debt like within a matter of days, like tens of thousands of dollars in debt, signing up for stuff, buying cars and going into credit card debt. It's amazing how quickly you can get into debt. It's amazing how long, painfully long it takes to get out of all of that debt. It's crazy. It's crazy.
I know, yes. It is crazy.
Now, you ultimately decided to join us in Roots, and if I'm not mistaken, you were a part of a free workshop, Life Without Payments, and I think you were participating in that free workshop. You ultimately decided to join Roots. Like, what caused you to kind of say, you know what, maybe Roots is something I need to do. Maybe this is something I need to try out. Like, did something stick out to you?
Well, I actually found you through Facebook advertisement for your planner. And so I thought this could be cool. So I bought the planner. And so then I started getting emails from you. And that's how I got onto the free stuff through the website and everything. And so when it came time to sign up, I just decided to do it because everything that I had been doing wasn't working. Yeah. And so, I don't know, maybe, a set of fresh eyes helping me, guiding me. And that's what it took, and then the accountability that you get with Roots is wonderful. So I just decided, why not try it? I've been doing this for years and years and years, and I'm not making headway.
Yeah. Awesome. I love that. And I love that you say it like that, because I think a lot of us have tried it over and over and over again our own ways. And it's like, at what point are you like, maybe I need to do some things differently?
Yes.
And I love that you realize that. Now, when you first started going through the modules and starting things, like what do you feel? Because, you guys you've saved and paid off a considerable amount of money in just 18 months. You've made tremendous progress, and I've been there watching every step of the way. It's been so awesome. But what were some of the early things that you started to do that you felt really made the biggest difference? You mentioned accountability, but what were some other things that you felt like were really the things that made that needle move much faster than, say, doing it on your own?
One was your budget, and that's in your planner. You forget sometimes when you are trying to plan a budget, you forget those monthly expenditures, or every 6 months something else is going to come up. So the first thing I started doing again was going back and doing the envelope system, where I saved for the unexpected clothing that you might need, or the something for your household that comes up. And then the behavior changes. That was big for me. Wait 24 hours or even a week or a month for a big purchase. When you do go to the grocery store, stick to your list.
Yeah, that's a big one.
Things that sound very simple to do, but are actually in reality very hard to do sometimes. So that was the main things is knowing, just because what I was doing is I was actually paying extra on my credit cards, but then at the end of the month, there wouldn't be anything else and something would come up. So I'd have to put it on the credit card because I had already used the extra money to go towards the credit card. So I wasn't planning correctly, I guess. Is that the way to say it?
Yeah. And I like what you said there when you said a lot of the things are easy concepts. They're easy to do, but they're also really hard to actually do it. And I think a big reason for that is because the marketing of products and debt, keeping up with the Joneses, that pressure to make those purchases and stuff, it's just so good. They are just really good nowadays at making you want those things. And it's hard to say no. You could have the best financial plan in the world and be sticking to your budget, and all of a sudden that email pops up, or that enticement, that advertisement, or whatever it is. And you could just be having that down day, right? And all of a sudden you pull the trigger. And you're right. A lot of the concepts and stuff that we share on the show are easy concepts, but they are hard to implement in a society that is really built around debt and payments and living paycheck to paycheck. It's easy just to do what everybody else is doing. There's no question about it. So when you break down your numbers a little bit, what have you been able to pay off in total? And then what have you been able to save in total since joining Roots?
from January 26th of 2020, I have paid off $19,947.94 in debt.
Incredible.
And I have saved, thank you. And I have saved $9,971.69.
That is,
and the savings, that includes my envelope system and then a health savings account that I put into. So
that is absolutely incredible. Now, looking back at those numbers and looking back over the last 18 months, I mean, we're still kind of going through it, but went through a pandemic, went through COVID, a lot of stuff happened over the last 18 months. Would you have ever imagined, even in a normal 18 months, that you would have been able to make that kind of in saving and getting out of debt?
No. Because I never kept track of what I was actually paying off, and I don't have the number in front of me, but I actually track the amount of interest that I pay every month. And at the end, that is what really is gut wrenching when you realize how much money you could still be paying towards debt, but it's just going to the stinking interest. It's tough, but yeah, it's amazing to me. Yes.
Well, I love that you brought up those two things. You brought up really two good points that I want people to hear is tracking. That's so big. Tracking. A lot of people just don't track their progress, how much money they saved, how much debt that they pay off, and looking also at the negative side of debt, which is the penalty of debt, which is the interest side. And I love that you're looking at that because it keeps you motivated. Because, when you get tempted about making those purchases or going further into debt, you are looking at those numbers and you are looking at them. You're saying I think you said gut wrenching, right? To see those numbers. That is a huge behavior change right there because you're gonna think twice before saying, yeah, I'm going to go into debt because you're seeing that interest in what you've been paying every month. And that's not going into your bank account. It's going into their bank account, which is not good at all.
It's not a fun thing to watch, but it is motivating. It's very motivating. And I like numbers though. So, it's kind of a fun for me to watch it and calculate it. I should have been an accountant, I think, but maybe not. I may have messed up some people's lives. So maybe it's a good thing I didn't do that.
Oh, I don't think you'd be that bad. Come on now. So talk a little bit about, obviously saving that money, paying that debt off. Those are all great things. Can you talk about some of the other aspects of how this has benefited your life? Like stress levels, anxiety around finances, like, have things improved in those areas, or what areas have improved that you kind of felt were surprised maybe that you didn't think would?
Yes, the stress level is gone. I don't know that I had maybe as much anxiety as some people because I wasn't behind on debt like some people are behind. I was on time with all my payments and stuff. But I guess just my whole mindset, and I would just get so mad and so frustrated that I wasn't getting anywhere. Yeah. And so with tracking, I do see that there is progress. So it keeps you centered a little bit. And, and I've talked to my daughter more about money. And so she's really grasping the concept. And so it's good. It's good in that way too. It's been beneficial for her as well as me and my husband. So, the anxiety, the stress level, it's gone away. I don't worry about as much anymore.
Yeah, that's incredible. And the fact that you don't have the stress or feel as much stress, and now you're actually hopefully eliminating a lot of that by sharing this stuff with your daughter.
Yes.
And what I found with parents is that in a lot of cases, we don't even necessarily have to verbally share a lot. It's just by actions and watching them see you say no to the credit card offers and watching you manage your money the right way and have a good money mindset. All of those things are just great things to be able to pass down to your kids because a lot of things are learned by watching actions, not necessarily always by teaching, which is scary for us parents. That's really scary at sometimes.
One thing that's very tricky, though, to teach is the difference between the debit card and the credit card.
Absolutely.
Because they look exactly the same, but, until they don't, they don't understand that the money is on the debit card. It's there where the credit card is, you're just borrowing from Peter to pay Paul, so.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the things that we've done with our son, this was a while ago because now he's 11, so we've taught him this, is how we showed him, because we were having difficulty too getting him to associate. Well, when we swipe a debit card, the money is somewhere else. We're just kind of doing it electronically. And he didn't really quite grasp that. So what we did is we, when we pay ourselves, because we both run our own businesses, my wife banks at a different bank than our personal finances. And what she does is she goes to that bank and she gets out real cash. So rather than write herself a check or do like an electronic transfer from one bank to another, she would go to the bank and just get an actual withdrawal of money. And she would actually give it to Noah, let him hold on to it. Like, this is money. This is the money that I've worked for this past month. And now we're going to take this money and we're going to put it into our regular bank. And then when I want to use this, I use this debit card. And as soon as we started kind of showing him, like physically taking him to the bank and showing him that the money goes into the bank, and then we can use this card to actually make purchases and it takes it from that bank, he kind of just started getting it. So maybe that might help her a little bit, is just visualizing a little bit more with those finances. But that definitely helped our son, Noah. Can you talk a little bit about, you talked about your daughter. It's helped out your relationship. How about friends and family? Have you shared any of this, success that you've had or anything with friends and family? And what was been their reactions to some of the stuff that you guys have been doing?
I haven't shared with family very much because it is kind of embarrassing. So I don't think they see this now. I don't know. But I have a few friends. They want to do something with the kids or something. And I say, well, we can, but we have to limit what I'm doing because I'm on a debt-free journey. Yeah. And their responses have been, oh, wow, that's wonderful. Everybody should do that. So, I mean, they didn't ask questions or anything, or they didn't, not want to hang out with us or something like that. So I've discussed it with a couple of friends. They know that we're on a journey, but family, I haven't really discussed it with. It's still kind of, I feel, like
I know exactly. Right. It's hard to say it. It's like hard to figure. It's like just this gross, you guys don't need to know about that. Right. Yeah. I unfortunately went through a situation where I couldn't avoid it, but I totally know the feeling that you're referring to. Yeah. Yeah. Definitely not good. So we've got a lot of people who listen to this show, and a lot of them are sitting here listening to you. And in the last 18 months, you saved and paid off over $29,000. I mean, you've had some tremendous success. What would be some pieces of advice that you would give some other people? Maybe they're early on in their journey, or maybe they're doubting they can have success. Like, what would you tell them, knowing what you know now after going through what you've gone through over the last 18 months?
Don't give up, for one thing. And it's okay to ask for help, especially a third party like with Roots, because you're with like-minded people, and a fresh set of eyes is always encouraging. And then if you are wanting to seek help, just go on and do it. Don't be embarrassed about it. Of course, I just said I'm still hiding it from my family, but put your pride aside just a little bit and do it for yourself. Do it for your family. It's worth it. It's worth seeking some help, and just make the plunge. Do it.
I love that. So what's next for you, Mary? I know you're still working. You're still getting out of debt. You still got some ways to go. But what are some things that what are some goals? Like, we talk a lot about goal setting in Roots. Having some good short-term, long-term goals. Like, what is your ideal situation like? Like, what are you shooting for the most, do you think?
Well, right now I'm still trying. My ultimate goal right now is debt-free freedom. And unfortunately, all my debt is actually credit card debt. Everything else is paid for, actually. So that's good. But the next step would be to go on and get, the 6-month savings. Yeah. And then ultimately start stashing cash for retirement or investing. That type of thing. I want to be able to set my daughter up a little better. She actually may be a little bit better off financially than I am. She has some cows and she manages her cows maybe better than I do. But that's the ultimate goal right now. Is the long-term goal is to be able to just stash cash for savings, so that 20 years from now I can do a lot of traveling. Don't have to work quite as hard and pay some people to do what I'm doing right now.
I love that. And I think those goals are great. And again, I just want to tell you how super proud I am of you. You've come a long way in just 18 months, and it's one of the greatest parts about what I get to do, and I get to cheer you on, support you, and it's so fun. And I gotten to see from day one when you started to where you are today, and the commitment that you've made to yourself, to your family, and also the support that you give other Roots members and the inspiration that you give other Roots members is awesome. It's just what makes this community and the people that we surround ourselves with so great. And I'm just so glad that you've been a part of it, and I appreciate you.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate you. Without you, none of this would be occurring. So thanks.
Well, it's my pleasure. And it's like we've started this Debt Free Dad podcast. It's all about just saying, hey, we mess this stuff up too, and you don't have to stress about this. Yes, it's hard work to get out of it. Yes, it's hard work to improve your situation, but everyone can live a stress-free and, if they choose to, a debt-free life, or at least a less debt life. And it's all out there. You just got to put the process to work, and you'll have success.
And that's one thing that is comforting, is knowing that you're not alone. You always know in the back of your mind that you're not alone, but you don't find people that are willing to admit that they're, neck deep in debt.
Yeah.
Nobody's going to admit it. So when you're with like-minded people, that's very encouraging.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's the biggest thing that a lot of our Roots members take comfort in, is that, and I tell our Roots members this, it's like, it's very rare that I ever do a one-on-one coaching call with an individual where their situation surprises me, which tells me that a lot of us have done a lot of the same or made the same mistakes. We've made the same poor choices. And so none of us are really alone. We're just alone in letting other people know about it, but we're all doing the same type of stuff behind closed doors. There's no question about it, because I get to see it. And I did the same stuff. So it's just like Mary said, yeah, if you're struggling, don't be afraid to reach out and get help. The sooner you do, you could be like Mary, again, in just 18 months, saving and paying off over $29,000. It's huge. So congratulations to you, Mary.
Thank you very much.
Hey, if you love planners, this is for you. But do you know why planners frustrate me? Because they only really get it half right. Now, sure, they're really good and fancy about helping you manage your time, which is really important, obviously. That's what a planner's for. But where they get it wrong is money, the second most valuable resource in our lives. Most planners don't include any financial planning. Things like, keeping track of paydays, bills, due dates, spending, yearly expenses, budgets, cash flow planning, debt elimination plans, and goal planning, right? None of that stuff. That's a real pain. And then what? Then you got to create your own in some silly binder, right? And who has time for all of that stuff? So instead, what happens? Nothing, right? A lot of people tend to ignore their finances even more, and things only get worse. Well, that all ends today, because I am so excited to announce and release my brand new, totally awesome Debt Freedom Planner. This thing's awesome, by the way. Now, before you say, Brad, I've already got a planner. This is not an ordinary day planner. This is the Debt Freedom Planner, which is a companion tool that works with your day planner, and it's built to help you manage your money, pay off more debt, and melt away financial stress. And I believe this is the tool that a lot of people who want to take control of their finances have been waiting for. So head on over to therealdebtfreedad.com, click on the Debt Freedom Planner in the menu to get access to your planner today.
Hey, what's this I see? I thought this was a party! Let's dance!
All right. That means it's time for the celebrations of the show. And again, just a huge shout out to Mary Southard. Just want to tell her thank you one more time for being on the show. She's just come a long way in the last 18 months. No credit card use and just changing a lot of behaviors. Congratulations to you once again. We're going to kick it off with Ann Rositis. We really cut down on eating out, and I've been taking my lunches to work every day, except for the day that the company brought me lunch, which is awesome. We are also so close to paying off an existing loan for our refrigerator that we had before we started the Roots program. Huge congratulations to you guys. Those are some great wins.
Shannon Thomas, I paid off my car. That is $400 a month towards savings.
That is incredible. Not only paying off your car, but to add $400 into your cash flow plan every month. That is huge stress relief and creating a lot of other opportunities for you to use that money towards. That's awesome. Great job, Shannon.
Jacqueline Para, I've started meal prepping for myself. I bought one family-size meal and cooked for 10 minutes, which made 3 meals out of it. It was only $6 for the entire bag, and I normally pay $8 for my lunches alone.
That's some huge savings. Eating at home saves a lot of money. Great job. It's a huge sacrifice. Kayla Edwards paid off the last chunk of one of my credit cards, going to focus on redoing the Roots modules next week and getting in great shape to kick this budget into high gear next month and get more of my debts paid off. I love that. I love the energy too, Kayla. That's great.
Charity Boyd, it's been a task, but both of our car payments are caught up and on time. We've been making payments on credit cards to bring those balances down with a reduced rate on 2 of them temporarily.
Yep, that is huge, Charity. And just getting caught up can be a huge stress relief. Congratulations, you guys. That's awesome.
Lacey Love paid $600 on debt, which paid off another student loan.
Hey, thanks for hanging out with us here today. We love your feedback, and it also helps us grow our YouTube show. So please give us a like or leave us some honest feedback on this video. And if you want the latest from the show, obviously be sure to hit that notification bell and subscribe to our channel. And for the latest resources, or if you want more information on how to kick debt and financial stress, please be sure to check out the links in this video or head over to therealdebtfreedad.com. We'll see you guys on an upcoming show. Take care.